Hi, my name is Nevindi. I'm 27 years old and I'm one of the owners of NIVASA. I studied at Ladies College and soon after went on to do my CIMA qualification. Round about the third stage, I realized that CIMA was just not my cup of tea, and I decided to pursue a career in hospitality. Soon after, I was able to complete my double degree in hospitality whilst I worked at Hilton Colombo as a GRO. After about 3 years, I decided to embark on this new adventure with my brother Nikira, which is now NIVASA. Apart from that, I really love keeping fit through nutrition and strength training, and I also do custom made cakes and desserts through a page called Sugar Nougat. But apart from all of that, I think what I love to do most is to travel, which has given me a better understanding on how to manage something like NIVASA. I think that we always loved the idea of one day managing and operating a hotel someday, especially after we realized the kind of potential Sri Lanka has as a tourist destination. And after traveling to a few other countries ourselves, we realized how special our beautiful little country is. What NIVASA is now used to be the private residence of our grandparents. So when they moved out in 2014, we decided to put the property on rent to an office. But we always knew that when the time was right, we'd be able to get it back and convert it into a small boutique. 3 years later, and after much thought, we decided to undertake the rent and start off as a hostel with 4 rooms and 10 bunk beds. The vision of what we wanted to create came through our travels in Sri Lanka as well as overseas. We always had this thing where we noted things that we enjoyed whilst traveling, and we also noted down services that we loved receiving. One thing for sure is that we wanted to make the spaces as homely as possible, and 4 years into it, the result was this ambient space with characterful rooms, homely spaces, rustic interiors, and a cafe that serves gourmet hand-picked items. We realized that we stumbled upon something that guests were eager and excited about when we initially started the hostel. So having had plans to one day convert it into a boutique hotel, we had a lot of time to give thought to what kind of spaces we ultimately wanted to create. What we wanted was to create this personalized space with a lot of character and soul. We wanted to create a product and a place that was timeless, not one which was trendy. We also wanted to make sure that customers felt comfortable and welcome. And where better than a home would a customer feel welcome and comfortable, right? And also we wanted to capture the essence of Sri Lanka. And I think that was the inception of NIVASA. NIVASA means home, as you all may know, and we absolutely fell in love with the name because that's essentially what we wanted guests to feel when they were amongst the spaces at home. As I mentioned before, NIVASA used to be the private residence of our grandparents. We can't help but think that they really left their mark on the house with the way that they had designed it way back in the 60s. They designed it in such a way to allow all this natural light to flow into the house while making outdoor areas to look out to from common areas and rooms. Considering how small the property is in itself, we can't help but think that they really made the most out of their outdoor spaces. Also, with the architectural design of the house, they really did an amazing job, because up until this day we haven't really done much to change the external design of the house. Apart from the architecture, some of the furniture that they left behind are still here to present. We wanted the house to retain its former personality while still catering to the modern traveler when we started off in 2016. We seem to have always kept this in mind over the years with every little renovation that we did and with every little item that we added to our collection. We had to make kitchens into bathrooms. We had to make common areas and sometimes even balconies into rooms. So essentially it was a lot of breaking and building that we had to do to really optimize the space to what it looks now. And apart from that, some of the other major changes that we made were to the courtyard, where we paved most of the larger areas, just to make it a little bit more convenient for guests as well as for low maintenance. But we kept enough space with access to soil so that we'd be able to plant trees. Unfortunately, some of the older trees that were already established had to be taken down during renovations, which meant that we had to do most of the planting from scratch. Although it looks full of greenery right now, these were all additions that we had made along the way just over the last few years. We absolutely love plants, as you might have already realized. There's just this added feeling of belonging when you're around nature, and that's essentially what we wanted people to feel like when they were around these spaces, even though we were in the middle of the city itself. Apart from this, I think when we talk about renovations, what I get reminded of mostly is how difficult it was to carry out all of these renovations while the business was still running. We obviously didn't want to disturb any of our guests, so that was definitely that added challenge. I think a lot of the credit is due to my brother for taking that time and effort to really make plans to optimize our spaces as well as looking for builders. I think it's fair to say that we've had our fair share of understandings of renovations and buildings in Sri Lanka. We are firm believers that a hotel experience through its brand needs to tell a unique story. For us, this meant retaining the history of the property whilst adding to its new character. When we decided to open up our home to travelers from around the world, what we wanted was for them to feel this ease of freshness. And what better way to have a fresh look than to revive the history of the property whilst incorporating the beautiful culture of this country. This is why we filled our spaces with furniture made out of recycled material, Sri Lankan antiques and other design elements. And most of the other items were handpicked by my brother and I through our travels in Sri Lanka. So you could say that we're kind of like our whole concept is kind of like a curation of arts and crafts that the island has to offer. So I would say that the culture and the merging influence of the island definitely had a lot to do with the concept here at NIVASA. Apart from this, one of our aims is to give NIVASA guests the full Sri Lankan experience. This is why we arrange city tours to nearby destinations so that the guests could see Sri Lanka through a local's eyes to reveal the heart of Sri Lanka. We realized over time what was most important to us was to make guests feel comfortable and welcome through personalized service, and to make them feel eager and excited through design is what we thought made the guest experience more unique and interesting. I think it is important to mention that we never really hired an interior designer at any point. It wasn't because we wanted to do everything ourselves or that we didn't value the skill of an interior designer. It was because we had our own vision that we wanted to create. Also, it was also because we never really had a point in which we could have made all those changes in one go. It was always a work in progress. So what NIVASA is now is a result of a slow renovation that happened for over 4 years. And it was because of changing needs and new understandings. As to who put it all together, I would have to give most of the credit to my brother as well as our whole family. We were always able to run our plans through our parents, who also had their own experience in building and renovation. In hindsight, I would say that we were quite ambitious with the way that we decided to furnish our spaces, as most of the furniture that you see are custom made. So whenever we wanted something new, we used to scroll over the internet, look at designs, make artwork, and work with our carpenters and blacksmiths after we had, of course, pre-planned and measured the layouts. We aim to keep things simple, avoid superficial and decorative designs. It all seems worth it now, 4 years in, seeing what the property has finally become. It's as if though we had dreamt of it years ago and it is finally complete. Creativity should be a factor considered as highly as functionality, in our opinion. And that's just a little story behind NIVASA's interior design. have altogether about 8 rooms in total, designed with Sri Lankan artistry, but still retaining the character of the house through old doors, windows, and other design elements. We've also kept books and other little interesting objects. It's as if though you were at one of your friends' houses surrounded by things that have their own life and stories. Then we've got our open-air cafe, where we cater to residents as well as non-residents. A hand-picked gourmet menu with local produce and delicious food. I think the courtyard acts as the heart of NIVASA. As I mentioned before, surrounding yourself with all this greenery really does give an escape for city dwellers, and we're really stoked to be able to offer that. Apart from that, moving on to the lounge, we've got a lot of reading chairs along with floor lamps, bean bags, and sofas. What we wanted was for people to, grab a book, lean back, and enjoy a cup of coffee. Also, we've got this, on the corner of the lounge, we've got this ever-growing collection of old books and a kiosk with newspapers and magazines, where we wanted people to come and relax and inspire imagination. So what we want to do is to continue achieving higher levels of hospitality and quality of food, as well as making customers at both the hotel and cafe feel like they're guests of our own home. NIVASA means home, so make it your own. NIVASA was and still is a part of a wave of small businesses bringing new life and investment into the neighborhood. We are now a nice small boutique that makes you feel far from the crush and the chaos of the city despite being in the middle of it. Come enjoy a meal or book in a stay with us, and we promise to cater to all your needs. We are also advocates for small businesses and arts, and we have a range of products that you can purchase. So we hope to see you there. Thank you.